This is Simon Thomas preparing a cup of tea and food tea, in Kendal, Cumbria. You're listening to the Tea and Trails podcast.
These intros are becoming a thing, Eddie. I absolutely love it. Yeah, thanks to Simon Thomas and Toby. And if you want to see how you do a heavy flex, pop over to YouTube. Yeah, and I'll visualize it. If I'm running to Coniston, sub 24 hours are on the cards for Lakeland 100. I'm just going to be flexing all the way to the school. You've been warned.
What do you mean by flexing? I'm nervous. I don't want to get banned in 32 states.
Welcome to episode 73 of the UK's number one trail running podcast. And ever since you said, are we actually the UK's number one trail running podcast? I do check the charts on a Sunday night, and yeah, we're still there. We are clinging on. Tea and Trails. My name is Gary Thwaites. And yeah, I'm watching my skin peel off after some terrible sun admin for last week's Old County Tops. Oh my goodness me, so itchy. Yeah, pop over to YouTube, listeners. Eddie's face is a picture.
So sorry about that, especially if you're maybe having a meal or, trying to eat that gel. My name is Eddie Sutton and I'm watching my resting heart rate, Gary. It's not good. It's going up and up. I've got one child upstairs with the filthiest cold I've ever. He's literally almost offensive to be around. The snot.
How are you feeling though? Are you?
There's definitely something there. There's something there, but I don't have time for that. I don't have time for a cold. But every day I get up, my resting heart rate is a couple of beats higher. It's almost 60, Gary, my resting heart rate at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, just ignore it. This week, we are joined by our very own Trish Patterson, fresh off a finish at Ultra Trails 100k Australia. So many opportunities for me to be really offensive to anybody Australian with my accent and my general chat about barbecues at any point. We also see what you've been up to on Strava, share tales from the trails, and the coach shows offer some help and wisdom to one of our Patreons.
Thank you to our Patreon partners who share some awesome discount codes with our patrons. We have Precision Fuel and Hydration, Vela Forte, Protein Rebel, Tiki Boo, Mountain Fuel, Outdoor Active, Silver Sweden, Active Route, the Centurion Running Store, sportshoes.com, Big Bobble Hats, X Miles, Side Farm Cottages, Yugo Goo Projects, Hellfire Events, Red Bear Sports, the Alban app, Retainer Group, Cycle Protection, Summit Crazy, Beat It Sports, Lumi Activewear, Phoenix Lights UK, Bridgedale Socks. They have arrived. My little birthday present to myself. Some Bridgedale socks. NAV4 Adventures and Ultra Trails 2. An extra shout out to Precision Fuel and Hydrations, Vela Forte, Beat It Sports and Protein Rebel. We use their products every month to help fuel, hydrate and recover.
If you'd like to save some money, support the podcast and our partners, please consider joining Patreon. Couldn't do this without you. Also, pop over to Summit Crazy. If you want to look like a giant tangerine or a little clementine like me, you can buy some awesome Tea and Trails merch. Patrons can now enjoy 25% off over at Summit Crazy. Mighty generous of them. Thank you so much.
And thank you to Precision Fuel and Hydration and Silver Sweden for sponsoring this week's show. Super grateful for all your support. And don't forget to pop over to Precision Fuel and Hydration and book in with a sports scientist, read some case studies or use their handy fuel planner. Lots of awesome stuff over at precisionhydration.com.
If you're a patron, you get 15% off, and anyone can get 15% off their first order with Caps Lock T24. That's Caps Lock T24.
Weekly Deets. Who's going to go first this week?
Weekly Deets.
Weekly Deets. You got lots of text.
I know. Well, I can. Sometimes I forget what's happened in the week. I forget what I've even had for breakfast. Actually, I never forget what I have for breakfast because I have the same breakfast every single morning. Do you? Do you just have
No, I love porridge. Porridge would be my go-to breakfast, but I've got crumpets at the moment. Oh, I love crumpets.
Oh, not sure. I think crumpets more like a 4 p.m. snack to me. I like kind of pick me up, get me through.
Anytime is good.
Anytime for a bit of crumpet. Come on then, tell me your deets. There's a lot of numbers. They look fast.
Yes.
Do you know, Gary, you make me feel inadequate. You don't, you're the friend that just like...
Comparison is the thief of joy, Eddie.
Oh, I know, but I just want to be better than you all the time. And it just gets me down when I do a workout. And then you're like, oh, but I did 15 minutes.
This was super tough, this workout. But yeah, I was a bit pooped after all county top. So easy miles until Wednesday. Really nice session, actually. Trails with Lisa. And then I did 10 times a minute up just a little hill that we've got just as we come out of the Dean, jog back down. Enjoyed that. And yeah, pretty surprised actually, because I thought after all coming tops, I would be wrecked. Definitely had DOMs, but not as bad as I thought. So I'm pretty happy with the state of my quads. But then a big session. This gave me some anxiety. We talk about this every week now, training anxiety. This one did. So it was 15 minutes at marathon pace and then 8 minutes. So marathon pace for me is like 6:48, 6:50s. Well, that's what it was for Manchester. Big generous recovery, which Eddie sent me a nice WhatsApp message about. And then you increase the pace. So you do go down to 8 minutes. Then it was 6:44s. So that was getting faster. Nice generous recovery. And then 5 minutes at 6:35. So yeah, like some kind of a progression run, but with a bit of a rest in the middle.
A bit of a rest. You had a working day in between each of those reps, Gary. I could have unloaded the dishwasher, done some washing, probably replied to a few emails.
Oh, I needed it. My goodness.
What did you do? What did you do in all that rest?
Well, it took me a minute to catch my breath after the first 15 minutes. That was pretty rough. It's wild how you can do a whole marathon at that pace. And then it's like,
didn't I send you a message going, how did you, because I did your marathon pace and I was, what, how, and as I started the treadmill, in my ear was your voice going, the treadmill always feels so fast, and it feels so fast. What is that? What is that? Sorry.
Well, the first 15 minutes, I'm just thinking, I just felt like I was hanging on for it all. And that's always, but you said, it's always the case for the treadmill. But then like the 6:35s didn't feel so bad, especially for 5 minutes. It's like, okay, we can cope for 5 minutes. But I just think, yeah, I don't know what it is, but your legs seem to struggle to keep up with the treadmill. And that 15 minutes, yeah, the initial one, that was tough. And the gym, the mercury is rising now. And that gym, my goodness me, it was so hot. And the pool people next to me, I was just like dripping. Yeah, it felt like I was running much faster than marathon pace. But luckily, the 8 minutes and the 5 minutes, they just flew by. Then, wow, it's amazing, these physios. They give you some advice and things start to feel better. Who would have thought it?
It must have been really bad for you to go to the physio.
He said I had a tight back, basically. Nothing too, he always kind of does some assessment. Tim, shout out for Tim, East Durham physio. I used to see Tim quite a lot when I first started running seriously. And I think probably a lot of people, your cardiovascular system grows faster than your body, and bits just your body doesn't seem to be able to keep up with your cardiovascular system. And yeah, I need a lot of patching up in the early days. Herniated disc, groin issues, lots of stuff was going wrong. But he always gave me the tools to take away and do the work on my own, as opposed to just keep going back week after week after week. And I have not been to see, I've not been cheating on Tim, 100% faithful to Tim. I've not been to see other physios. It's over 8 years because he's destroyed all of my information. Some kind of data protection. He has to destroy everything after 8 years. So that is how long it is since I have been to physio. But yes, I was pretty concerned. My tight back was lingering a bit too long. So I've got some exercise to do. Nothing really much was happening, but then after Sunday, I had a soaked in the bath. Oh my goodness me, a hot bath. That is sensational. But yeah, I've got probably about half a dozen little mobility exercises. Fingers crossed, moving in the right direction. Long run in the lakes on Sunday. That was sensational. We did a 13 Valleys recce, and then we hit I mentioned last week, then we caught up with the Lakeland 100 route back to Braithwaite. Definitely need to do some recce's on the 13 Valleys route, because the Lakeland 100, for me, it's almost like second nature. I know pretty much where I'm going. Yeah, I could miss a gate, but fundamentally not too much faffing on, but just that probably 9 miles on the Lakeland, on the 13 Valleys route, a lot of faff, so need to do it quite a few times. But immediately we said, just before we started recording, I'm looking at previous times, and not because I think I'm going to win this race. I was just curious what the winners did it in, then I can kind of compare that to Lakeland 100 and roughly gauge if I have a good day, what I will be doing. There's no way on this earth I'm doing some 24 hours on that course. I think Mark Derbyshire, forgive me if I'm wrong, Mark, but I think you're about 22 hours.
He doesn't listen, I can guarantee. He doesn't listen. So on.
I can't remember. Do you remember what Mark Derbyshire's time was for the Lakeland 100? Because it was smoking fast.
19? Maybe. Was it 19? Something?
Yeah. So if you think he's, roughly speaking, 3 hours slower on this course, and it is a beast. I just kind of thought it was 100 miles, but I think technically it's 115 miles. So that is 10, 11 miles longer than Lakeland 100. And if these are 15, 20 minute miling,
Is it too hard for you, Gary? Do you think it's too hard for you?
Maybe I'm bitten off a little bit too much for the end of the year, especially because like Lake 100 is end of July, August, September. And we even were talking about come 7 o'clock at that time of year, there's not going to be much sunlight around. So it's going to be a completely different experience when in July, you get these long summer nights, but end of September, that is different.
Can't wait. I hope it rains. I hope it's miserable. It's time for you to have a really tough, grinding
September could be proper minging because I always just think July, it might be rainy, it might be windy, but I don't think you're going to get the three elements against you. End of September.
Fingers crossed, everybody.
First Bob Graham round, we had to abandon it because the weather was just so horrific going up to Helvellyn. So anything can happen. But yeah, stunning. Just a little bit I've been on. I've been kind of working out a few of the little recce's to do too. So we'll get on that. But yeah, just that little bit going from Keswick all the way to Honister. Just beautiful. Beautiful route, beautiful trails. 3 gyms. So I've had a good week down the gyms.
Oh my God. I thought as much.
One at home, 2 down the 2 actually physically in the gym. One of those with George. George has upped his weights and he's pumped. He came in, like Lisa came home from work and immediately was all over us saying that he's lifting the same weight as me for quite a few of those exercises too. I love it though. Anything that makes him enthusiastic. When he's taking down his dad, I don't mind. It's nice.
I squatted next to a guy that we were doing roughly the same. Roughly the same weight. But when I squat down, probably I can just if I get my knees to 90 degrees, drive back up. He was getting his butt almost to the floor. I was like, how? I wouldn't be able to do that without a bar, like that mobility. And I was like, should I? Is that good? Do you want that much mobility? I was like, as a runner, I don't. No, I like a bit of stiff muscles, but I felt very inferior.
Well, I was just thinking about Kipchoge. I'm sure it could be a lot of rubbish, but I'm sure I heard somewhere Kipchoge can't touch his toes. So, the GOAT of marathon running.
Can you touch your toes? No.
Not anymore.
No, I mean, I make that noise every time, like if I just have to pick something up from the floor.
Yeah. I used to until probably running became quite serious. I used to be able to put my legs behind my head. So
Stop it.
Yeah.
People will start daydreaming.
Close your eyes, listeners. Close your eyes. But my goodness me, a mega scary drive home from the lakes. It absolutely tipped it down. I mentioned it yesterday, actually, when we spoke. I was driving and we went to go past a truck and we just aquaplaned. And for what felt like a lifetime, but was probably only a second, you just lose control when you're aquaplaning. And it felt like we were getting drawn into the truck and everybody was wired and pretty stressed out. But it's really weird because I was pretty cool at the time. I thought, it was fine. It was no dramas. But I've been reliving it quite a lot ever since. So.
No.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're an incredible driver, though. You saved your friends from peril.
I did. I maybe shouldn't have went to go past the truck in theory.
I wasn't going to judge, but I did think with that amount of rain, that's when Gary made his worst decision.
Triggering numbers. Why? 79.98 miles of running. Total of 86.6 in total if you include dog walks. I was going to be that idiot running up and down the street in Keswick to try and get 80 miles, but I thought, no, that is fine. 79.98 is fine. Just under 10,000 feet of elevation. 21 hours, 25 minutes of exercise. I've got to say.
Jeez, what were you doing? It took you 21 hours to do all that. My God.
Yeah, well, there's 21 miles on the trail.
I just love you. I love the pause that you go, oh, what? I thought it was really good, Eddie.
But I'm pretty stoked with that because,
I'm stoked with it too. I'm really stoked.
Low start of the week after all county tops. But yeah, we did it.
That's a pretty good recovery from a race. I would say that's way too much post-race week, but who am I? Who am I to judge, Gary?
Well, this is always the bittersweet with all county tops. And I've already had a chat with Robbo. It's all in for all county tops. That we will taper, we will race all county tops. And yeah, who knows who tips up on the start line.
Tops off at Old County Tops. There were some guys with their tops off.
Is that really bad son admin? Yeah, if I had a body like that, I'd probably have my top off too.
Me too.
Right, moving on. Focus.
Moving on from Naked Eddie and Gary. Oh, good week, Garrett. Yeah, it was naught to complain about. Oh, what did I do? 2 strengths, including 3 strengths, 2 strengths. Can't remember. I love the way, because you can remember all your sessions and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I think, did I run? Good week, 2 strengths, including a meeting with my strength coach, Gary. I told him, I said he'd listened to my Northern Traverse podcast. He's such a lovely guy. He's like, I wanted to listen to the whole thing, like from start to finish without interruptions. I'm like, geez, that is commitment. And now he's a big podcast fan. And of course, last week I said that I'd done the 2 sessions back to back because he'd sent me a judgy WhatsApp, and then he sent me a message. Oh my God. And I was like, oh, there's no place to hide now. We were talking about like what worked, what I didn't learn. Mainly it was me whining at him going, I really hate that. Do I have to do that exercise? I really hate lunges, Gary. I love to lunge, but I really hate anything with a lunge in, and he happened to do some pretty lunge heavy, and I was like, can we just swap some of these, like all these it's just my knees. I remember after the spine, like my knees are the thing. The mobility in my knees takes a while to come back after all those miles, so it was really dull. But we were talking about that, and where we're going next, and what I'm going to do, and how I'm going to maintain the strength, how I'm going to build it when the kids are like on holiday and stuff, and I can't get to the gym and all that. It's really dull, but so nice to have somebody to talk about that side of me with a kind listening ear. Lovely long run, Gary, with my mates. Managed to eat some Veloforte chews. Did I tell you last time that I put a Veloforte chew in my mouth, my last long run about 10 days before that? It just gave me such PTSD. I started chewing it, and I was like, oh no, no, this is too much. I just spit it out. The dogs were like, well, some marmot thought, my God, I've never had such a good snack. But I've got so much sports nutrition. My friends call it my tuck shop in my cupboard, because I had so much ready for the Northern Traverse and I ate 0 of it. So I've got to eat these. I've got to eat all this stuff. So I was like, right, that's all I'm taking. So I'm going to have to eat them. And it was fine. Smashed about 3 packets and a 90 grams precision.
What do you like with the Veloforte, the beetroot gels?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a shot, isn't it? It's like going to the bar and getting a tequila shot with your mates at about 12:30, where you've had a few drinks, but you're not quite totally oblivious. So you just have to.
It's quite intense.
It's intense, isn't it? It is an intense feeling. But I also quite enjoy it because it's like, but it feels good. It doesn't have as much carbs in as I like for the effort of the gel. If you're gonna take a gel, which to me is always a process, I would like to be like, that's why I love the 90 grams pouch, because you can just slurp it, put the cap back on, and get on with your run. Whereas the Veloforte just take a bit of a. You need a chaser, a lima chaser.
I had 3 of them when I did the 13 Valleys recce. They're not my favourite, but I didn't want to have them on race day, so I thought I'd use them on the recce's, get rid of them on the.
Yeah, exactly. And I always use all that sort of stuff on the long runs with mates when you stop for your snacks, basically, don't you? So it's much easier to get sports nutrition down. And for me, it's much easier, like, if I'm doing the school run, I'm dropping the kids and I just work out, like, how long am I running for? 3 to 4 hours. Okay, I need about 200 to 300 grams of carbs. Shove it in the pack.
That's all I do. I go 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, just pile everything up.
Pile it all in. And at the moment, it's all still, the packets are still in there because I just saw the pack as we started to record. I was like, oh my God, I still haven't unpacked my back. Oh my God, it's disgusting. Anyway, managed 2 sessions, Gary, 2 good sessions. So what I did all week, which I've not done for a long time, is I started writing myself my proper plan instead. So instead of normally I just go, this is what I want to achieve this week. And then I just do it when it's free flowing, where the day occurs and I'm like, I've just got to tick off all these sessions. There's no set day, but I actually have joined myself to my own coaching Training Peaks account. It took a bit of like, I had to set up a separate account, but so now I can manage my sessions. I can put them on my watch. I can set my heart rate zones into my sessions so that I'm accountable. So I'm actually in the right zone rather than just going by feel. And I quite enjoyed it a little bit. I don't like my watch judging me, but it was like, come on, Eddie, come on, work harder. Often I don't need to be told to work harder on a session. It's more like, back off a little bit. Just take it down. So 2 sessions, 4 by 8 minutes uphill. That was great. Love that. I love the 8 minutes. I love a long uphill rep, mainly because you're just slightly below what is horrendous. So you just feel like comfortable rather than like
2 minutes recovery on that.
Yeah, 2 minutes recovery for that, Gary, not 18. Somebody asked me like how do you do the recovery, because I've got so many hills I can just carry on basically uphill. I try not to stop, and I don't like to turn and run down a hill because it changes the muscles that you're working.
Yeah.
I like to keep going uphill, so I tend to just walk for like 30 seconds. If it's really steep, I walk for the whole 2 minutes, and I just watch my heart rate and try and get it down. My recovery heart rate tends to be about 135, is like I can go again for most stuff, and that takes normally, it depends. And this is something I thought that would be good brew with the coaches as well, is like if it's an uphill session, sometimes I get another 90 seconds in that heart rate zone, even though I'm walking, and it takes a while for the heart rate to, do you notice that, to drop back down? I'm like, are those 3 minutes of workout? Because
well, as the workout goes on, I get this kind of cardiac drift. So maybe the first set, I might be this 145 to 150 beats, but then when I'm doing my 6th 5 minute, I'll be 160 beats. It stays in the recovery. I might never get out of, say, zone 3, whatever that is.
Yeah. And I'm also, I know we talked about this before, I'm really mindful about not going out too hard on those reps. And I always say to people as well, I let the hill come to me. You don't go to the hill comes to you, so that you can otherwise the last 3 or 4 minutes, you sort of just slog in. And I think hill workouts are a great chance to run really well, to be like a little compact spring. So it probably takes me 2 minutes to get into the zone that I want to work in. But then I see that it takes me a minute to get out of it. So it sort of kind of balances its way out. That's what I tell myself. Anyway, and then I also did 6 by 5 minutes. And Gary, I mocked you for your big pause in the middle. I had, after 3, I think, maybe it was 4, I had on Garmin, I think it says a 12-minute pause, because
whoa, you didn't say this.
There was a gym strength class in the gym, and I was on the treadmill, and I was like, oh no, I forgot. So I was like halfway through the session, and they came down to start the workout, and I was like, oh, she's going to kick me out. Would there be anything worse than having to go and restart that session when you're halfway through it and you've done all that warm up and you're there, you just want to finish it? And so I was like, hello, are you using the treadmills? And she was like, and I was thinking, there's no way you're going to be using the treadmill. She was like, no, you can stay on the treadmill, but can you just stop while I explain the warm up and the exercises? And I was like, okay, am I that loud? Oops. So I stopped, and oh my gosh, I was like, she did say you can restart. She said you can restart as soon as I start talking, but I felt like, oh no, but now I'm really conscious about my feet going bang, 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 and me going, sweat, so much sweat. Anyway, once they started, I did restart. In my plan that I'd written, I'd done 5 by 5, but because I'd had this pause and I felt okay, I did 6, and I did think, in my head, I was like, should I push to 8? I felt pretty, like with those ones, when you're pretty fit but not too fit, you always think, can I do more? Can I do more? And I was like, no.
Don't beat the workout.
Don't beat the workout. Call it there. And I called it there. And I was like, I'll do like a 10, 15-minute jog, cool down. I did about 12 minutes, and then I had to stop because my top was so disgustingly sweaty. It was chafing like oh my God, Gary, it was disgusting. And then I was going to change and do my strength, but then I had all this like sweaty gym kit. I was like, oh, what really posh gyms, they have like plastic bags that you can put your gym kit in, don't you? So I sort of hid it under the bench, and I was like, Eddie, don't forget that, because I didn't want to put it in my bag because I had my work stuff. Anyway, it was a good sesh. It was a good session. The strength.
What were your paces? What were your 6?
No, you don't get that sort of details. You do not get that sort of details. I don't want to trigger anybody with how fast I am, or maybe how slow. But I've made a note in my plan, and I'm going to do the same session again and start off with a little bit more fire in my belly. We've all got to start somewhere, even though that pace was probably my 50-mile pace about 10 years ago.
I love the treadmill. Just say for my session, 15 minutes, 8 minutes, 5 minutes, and the session I've got coming up this week. Yeah, if you've got that resource at home or a gym, it really
What I really,
helps.
really want is one. I tried to sell off my treadmill to get some money. I saw someone wanting a treadmill. So I was like, oh, you can have mine. And she was like, that's a little pricier than I thought. I was like, oh, damn it. I really want that new Noble Pro. Oh, the one that you can like link to everything. You can link your Training Peaks workout to the treadmill. You can watch Netflix.
It must be reading my thoughts because Facebook.
I know it keeps telling me on Instagram, this is the treadmill for you, Eddie. You need this in your life. You will be as fast as Gary if you run on this treadmill. Anyway, I don't think I could sneak another treadmill into our back room. I don't often do 2 workouts a week. I often find because there's so much hills in my life that I sort of use that as well as often like little mini workouts. And so I often only do 1 proper workout, but I'm going to try and do 2 workouts for the next month or so. But what I did do, Gary, so I wore my heart rate monitor all week and I really tried to make sure my recovery runs and easy runs were like really super 120 average heart rate. And I had to
is it your arm heart rate monitor?
Yes, it's my arm one. I would never be able to wear. Can you imagine the chaffing if I wore it? It's already pretty horrendous. I'd literally be raw. I had to really have a moment when I was like, oh my God, this is so slow. But felt good. I enjoyed running that slow. And did it make any difference? Well, I managed 2 workouts. I had a good week. I think I got to about 70 miles, 12,000 feet, I think. Sunday morning, one child was playing football, so I just had 2. Easy dreamy. I went out before they woke up with the dogs, and I did a lovely run up, straight up the hill. Good 1,400 feet straight up, no break. Lovely, ran the whole thing, got to the top. Got the message to say we're awake, which I love. We're awake, Mum. Can we have chocolate Weetabix? Okay, I'm coming. Turn around, get back home, come in. They're like, what should we do this morning? Should we go up Golden? And I was like, shall we watch Netflix, kids? I was like, yes, okay, let's do it. Dogs had already like laid down going, we're done.
Enough is enough.
That was enough. I had some mates I wanted to see in Morzine and they'd wanted to meet for coffee. So I was like, should we go up Col de Cou instead? Which is like our basically it's the route they used to take the Jews in the war to get to Switzerland. So you can stand at the top and you can have 1 foot in Switzerland and 1 foot in France. So the kids quite like it. And it's got like memorials on the way up to people that died, the resistance that died. So it's quite a historic route. Lovely climb. It's about 2,000 feet, I think. Kids friendly climb, like it's through a valley, so it's got lots of different rocks and they can run around being mad. But I have to keep the dogs on the lead because of the marmots.
Yes.
People don't like it when Lindy makes close friends with marmots. So the poor dogs, then I had them tied around my waist and a big backpack with all the kids' snacks and coats in. I was like,
oh, she must be wiped out.
But it was Mother's Day in France, so I booked myself a roast. I was like, Bryn, by the way, I've booked a roast for us all because it's Mother's Day. He's like, is it? So I had that in my mind, Gary. So I starved the kids and they were like, can we have a snack? I was like, yes, just half a sweetie. There we go. Best roast I've ever had when we came back down. Dogs were absolutely pooped. They were like, we had not carb loaded for a 4-hour morning.
I'm curious what the date of a French roast is.
Yeah, we always laugh because the French don't do roasts, obviously. So we call it a roast, but it's the French interpretation, but they do roast potato. So I had this like mushroom, what was it? It was a palaveri or something. It's a French word I didn't know. Like a mushroom pie with very heavily roasted, like so roasted, must have been like triple fried. A Yorkshire pudding, like a massive Yorkshire pudding, but then like asparagus, like honey roasted, like carrots, green beans.
Yeah.
Was there gravy? I don't. It was just, oh my God, Gary. And they just like the bowl. Eve's had a roast too, and she just obviously wanted them on the veg. This massive plate of veg. Oh my God, it was smash that down, not a problem. But I couldn't do pudding. Everyone else did pudding, but I just was like, that's going to be pushing me too far. But it was a great week. I felt good, and I'm pretty happy that I've taken that gulp of like restarting training when, it's going to be just chaff, sweat, central. But I've got a long time now. I've got like, May, June, July, August, September. I've got like 7 months to rebuild and to find some speed. And what I'm really noticing is now the trails, like I can run up pretty Not quite to the top of everything yet. There's still snow at the top. But what I'm noticing from all the strength work is that I can run up hills without the cardiovascular. Before, if I chose to run over hiking, my heart rate would be like a workout. Now I seem to have this like more tension in my muscles.
It's all those lunges, Eddie.
Oh, no, definitely not lunges. It's all that deep squatting, Gary. But I can seem to be able to, like, if I can jog uphill, basically, without the heart rate coming up as well. If I choose to run up a hill, I see that my legs are like without the lactate builder. I can buffer that lactate, which it's a lovely feeling. I'd definitely not been able to. I don't know if it makes me any faster, but it's nice to have that strength to be able to run up and down hills. So yeah, I'm pleased with the way that it's going, but gosh, I've got a mountain to climb.
It's a classic, isn't it? That's 6 times 5 minutes, or 5 times 5 minutes. You know, if you're just thinking, somebody's listening, they go, oh, what can I do? What kind of workout can I do?
5 minutes is a great, because 3 minutes is too fast for me right now, because I wouldn't be able to run fast. I'd be worried about getting injured, basically, because I'd try and do that a 6 minute mile and would ping off the back of the treadmill as my hamstrings would ping as well. But 5 minutes, you can give yourself like a couple of minutes to build into it and run well. And that's what it's all about as we get a little bit older as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well done us, Gary. Well done us.
Over to our coaches again. This week, Patreon Patricia Keane has a question. And when questions like this come in, my goodness me, I'm so grateful Rebecca is part of the team. Hello, coaches. I'm a 67-year-old runner. I was a reasonable runner in my age category, but now I have really slowed down due to ongoing issues with my knees. I've had an MRI scan on my left knee, which said I had no cartilage on the neck of the femur and the underside of my patella joint, though the rest of my knee was intact. My right knee pain is slightly different to that. It is near the IT band insertion. I haven't had an MRI scan for this. Both knees are swollen. They become worse after I run long distances. The fluid makes them stiff and I just can't run at any pace. I recently heard about hyaluronic joint injections and stem cell injections. What are your thoughts on these? I don't want to have steroid injections, as I'm aware in the long term they weaken tissues. I'm doing strength exercises. I sometimes also use KT tape to support the joints. Many thanks for all your continued support and to the running community. Hyaluronic joint injections, Rebecca. My goodness, I've never heard of that until this question came in. What is that all about? Hopefully some help for Patricia.
I was on a little read of what you said about your left knee scan. I'm assuming you mean there's cartilage at the bottom part of the femur is sort of worn away a little bit and underneath the kneecap itself as well. So what we call sort of osteoarthritis type changes, I assume, is what they've picked up on your left knee. We know that trying to remain active and running is actually good for our knees. So hopefully it looks like you're very much keen to continue and you're looking for ways to help support and supplement that, which is great. Obviously, you mentioned IT band on the other side. Sometimes if your knees are swollen, due to a little bit of degeneration in the knees, then you can get fluid under the IT band, which makes it look like sort of classic ITB, but it can be more to do with the fluid there. But it can also just be IT band, which we think is more to do with sort of glute strength and that sort of thing. So in terms of what you can do, I would say the most important thing here is to look at sort of your strength and how much strength work you're doing. We talk a lot about this. I certainly bang on about it a lot. Really, the most important thing is remaining strong and keeping the control around those knees where it needs to be. So big muscle groups, hamstrings, quads, but also definitely lumbar pelvic control in your glute. So all of those things will help take pressure off your knees. Doesn't matter what the pathology is going on inside the knee, but it will help pain in your knees. Okay, so moderating and adapting your training and adding in that strength work and making the strength work really the focus of everything you've done, everything that you do going forward. You've done obviously lots and lots of base and build work through all the career you've had with your running. Now you're very much in a phase of maintaining your knee health, and the strength is the biggest part of that. So assuming you're all over that and that's boxed off and you've got help with that, then yes, we look at other things that we can do to help knees when people are just in a bit of a rut with it and it's painful and your knees are really reactive. So every time you go for a run, they swell up again. So I do use hyaluronic acid in my practice, injections for that with the military population that I work with. At the moment, it is not available generally on the NHS, and that's because the NHS has to do interventions which have got a good evidence base population-wide, really, and so they're looking at the cost effectiveness of it. So when you look at the whole population of people with arthritic knees, it doesn't have long-term benefits, and it doesn't then prevent people from having more expensive things like knee surgery done. So when you look at it, it doesn't stand up cost-effective-wise. They're looking at probably about 6 months sort of pain relief and that sort of thing. So when you look at the big studies, it doesn't show a massive amount of improvement. So the NHS feels they can't really invest in that. But on an individual basis, where you have that support of good rehab, so in the military, obviously we've got excellent rehab, so we're able to use it as part of a wider intervention. So it's not just a one-off injection, good to go, get back to running. It's very much undertaken with all of that rehabilitation, all of that access to rehab, all of the professionals that they've got access to, so exercise rehab instructors as well as physios to take them through all those exercises. We do see some encouraging results, albeit in a younger population. So most of our patients who'd be undergoing that would be sort of more 30s, 40s, 50s. I would say that is a potential, but it has to very much be placed within context of everything else you're doing. It will not cure arthritis. We used to hope it was some sort of cartilage supplementation that sort of helps a degree of regeneration within cartilage, but probably at best it sort of halts decline and it acts as an anti-inflammatory to improve the sort of pain within your knee from that perspective. The other thing that was used to be used for as an anti-inflammatory in your knee, as you mentioned yourself, is steroid. And yes, you're right, we don't like to use that long term. We don't like to use that for long-term conditions. If it's acutely swollen and it's an inflammatory type pathology, so a different type of arthritis, then there is still a role for steroids as a short-term treatment to get certain things under control. But in your case, no, it wouldn't be advised. And I would be wary of anybody who wanted to offer you that regularly going forward. As you say, it is not friendly to cartilage long term. We use it occasionally to keep people going who are not fit for knee replacements, for example. So I've again used it in my own practice with patients who are not going to get through an operation for their knee, and actually it's like a palliative long-term thing, and you know you're not helping their long-term knee health by doing it, but you're giving them quality of life and comfort in the meantime. So you're not in that group, and it's not something that any doctor really would want to support, I don't think. So you're absolutely right on with that. Stem cells, I don't have any experience personally of them. Again, that is very much private domain only, research domain really, and private practice. And again, the idea is that you put cells into a new area, they can then divide off and become whatever cells they need to. And so you're isolating cartilage growing cells and putting those into areas where there is cartilage deficiency, which is arthritic conditions, in the hope that they will have some sort of regenerative property. Or again, they work as sort of an anti-inflammatory. There's different types of stem cells and different types of injection therapies that again work as sort of anti-inflammatory. And they're what we call biologic treatments. But again, I would say the evidence is low or poor quality. The studies are quite different. So you can't really compare. There's no big sort of controlled trials which are comparing big populations of people with arthritis. So the evidence isn't there yet. They're also very, very expensive. And that's the other thing to say. These interventions are available privately, but that is a lot of money and a big investment for something which we probably don't have good long-term data on. The things that we have that data on and that evidence base is strength and control work, so which is why I and all the coaches will constantly bang on about that, because that is the biggest thing that will make a difference to your experience of running from now on, will be the strength around that knee and how supported that knee is. You've also talked about KT tape and things like that. Again, use of knee supports can just make things feel a bit more comfortable. So again, it's going to be trial and error with those sorts of things. And again, if you find a brace that's comfortable or a support sleeve or something which feels comfortable, helps a little bit, maybe that swelling and irritability after running, then again, that's something that I would support. That's relatively sort of low cost intervention that you can try and it trial and error again, get a physio to maybe take your knee, particularly if it's under your kneecap. Certain taping strategies, which again can offload the knee whilst you're running. So that's something to explore with a physio, and relatively low cost, trial and error. But overall, what I think will make the biggest difference is having that understanding of where your knee is, what you can do, and having an objective assessment by a physio. I think depending on who's done the MRI for you and who's interpreted those results, there are surgical interventions for certain isolated cartilage defects, but I'm not sure in what context you had that MRI scan and who has talked you through the results of it. But yeah, we like to try and do everything we can before you get to that point of surgery. So I think there's lots of things you can do, but I would be tempted to steer away from the sort of expensive, highly advertised sort of injection therapies which have got low evidence base currently.
One of my points I've taken from that, Rebecca, is she mentions they both swell, they both are swollen, they both swell after long runs, which is going to really affect the biomechanics of the knee. So that in itself is going to hurt for running as well, and is going to maybe mask some of the other symptoms, but also maybe make them feel swelling can be really painful, because it's the body's way of trying to protect something and cure something, and it can make it feel more painful than it is. And I think, Patricia, perhaps have a look at that swelling and try and get the swelling down. I know from personal experience that knees really love ice. And if you commit to actually icing that knee or both knees straight after you run quite a few times a day, you can also, I don't know, Rebecca, if you know those icing machines they get that they can give you after knee surgery, where they pump the cold all the way around the knee. But Patricia, that might be something you can hire. In France, you can hire them. I don't know whether it's the same in the UK, but I think maybe trying to get some of the swelling down in the knee might help as well with the movement of the knee, because as soon as that kneecap is, or perhaps the kneecap is sitting away as well, it's not going to work properly. So it's going to be really painful and limit your range of motion in running as well. So perhaps, yeah, if you can find a good physio and perhaps work out an icing, and even medically perhaps not advised, I don't know again, Rebecca, but do a course of anti-inflammatories and really try and get some of that swelling down, which will then help a little bit perhaps with the pain and the knee management. Because I can imagine while they're both really swollen, I mean, everything is going to hurt. You haven't got the movement. But I never want to say stop running, because I think with knees, you need to keep moving them. They need the blood flow, don't they? And they need the movement. But perhaps look at the swelling as well and try and get that down a little bit. Takes a lot of commitment to get knee swelling down. You've got to really commit to that.
Yeah, this is one situation where if you can take a short break from running, this isn't about, we want to keep you running long term. So a short break now and doing other things, cycling, non-impact, whilst you're investing in that physio rehab, whilst you're looking at things like ice, as Eddie says, I think that a short break off that, probably continuing to run and just aggravating it all the time in the phase that you're in may be counterproductive at this stage. So if you're able to back off for a short period of time, very much with the aim of I want to get back to running, then I think that will pay dividends.
Not just stopping running and going, it's going to heal, because I don't think it's going to heal by itself, is it? But instead of running, making another plan of, right, what am I going to do to... I think mentally that really helps as well. If you do have to stop running with knee pain, is like making a plan, making sure you're being proactive somewhere else. Trish, you're the master of knees.
I bet you have a ton of experience, and there are going to be a ton of runners out there who could really do with that kind of experience, so get out there. You don't have to be running to be involved in the running community, and it's a fantastic thing to do, I think, when you are injured, is to spend much more time helping and building future runners. You will have a whole wealth of experience and top tips and things that you've endured and gone through, which you could pass on to other people. So make use of this time whilst you are resting. That's a key thing. It will keep you engaged in the running community, and it will keep you engaged and happy with what you're doing whilst you're trying to work through a solution. If you can't run, I'm always bang on about walking. Walking is fantastic, and particularly things like, the Long Distance Walkers Association, stuff like that, totally massively underrated, are fantastic. There are so many great walking things and events you can do out there. And, people forget numerous records, FKTs in the UK, have been made by long distance walkers. So, that's something else you could potentially look at. But yeah, best of luck, Patricia. It's so frustrating when you get an injury and you want to run, but fingers crossed you get back to it soon.
Best of luck, Patricia. Let us know how everything goes. If you have a question for our coaches and you are a patron, then email hello@teaandtrails.com.
Oh, I need to say about the email. Hopefully everything is up and running by Friday when this goes out, but I'm having a few IT issues. So if they're getting bounced back, then yeah, we currently don't have email, but bear with us.
Think what we've lost, Gary, the sponsorship deals, the offers.
Adidas, Terex, Noble Pro. All gone.
We don't need fancy stuff, Gary. We just need to work hard. Just need the grind.
Running through the finish tunnel with my girls, knowing that I didn't go easy on myself, sharing that moment of pure joy and relief. These are the moments why we do hard things that inspire us to dig deeper, believe in ourselves and others around us. Look for moments, not medals. Oh, wow. I love those words from Trish over on Instagram. What a ledge. Oh, we got a treat today. We joined all the way from down under. Our super coach, Trish Patterson, joins us fresh from UTA 100 or Ultra Trails Australia. Thank you, Trish.
G'day.
G'day.
G'day, mate.
Where are you? What's the view from your window? Oh, time difference. Yeah, hopefully you've been for a run today. And have you been for a run today?
Well, it's dark here because it's the Aussie winter now. It's still beautiful outside, but it's really cold. It's that kind of classic, like almost desert type, where it's beautiful, clear skies, nice, sunny. And then as soon as the sun goes down, everyone freezes their pants off, quite literally. So it's dark outside, and the time here now is just after 6. So I think we're about, it's 10 past 6 in the evening. So we're about 9 hours ahead of you, I think.
Yeah, 9
Something
o'clock
like
in the
that.
UK, 10 past
I'm
9.
in the future.
What's it like? Does my Monday get better, Trish? Because it's been quite hard.
The good thing about the future is that all my training plans are always on time. My clients.
Oh yeah, because that's a little. You've got a little gift of 12 hours.
Good window there, yeah. So I can be totally chilled on the weekends, knowing that I've got that.
Oh, and then do them on the Monday. Yeah, that's nice.
Well,
Maybe
some I do on the Monday, some I still do on the Sunday just to get them out. But yeah, it means it's a bit more flexible for me, which is nice.
And what's it? You say it's winter. During the day before the sun goes down, what kind of temperatures? Before I feel sorry for you, what kind of temperatures?
Yeah, so it's around 0 now. Like we took the kids camping on the weekend and in this national park not too far away from here. We knew it was going to be a cold night, but when we got up in the morning, the tent was like frozen solid. Like properly frozen. It was really cold, yeah. And when we did UTA, that was cold up in the Blue Mountains. It was really nice day, but it's just as soon as you get quite a bad wind chill and the air is very cold. It's not like the UK in terms of like wet. It's not raining, but it's cold, which is nice. I can handle that. I'm going to be so soft when I come back.
Well, yeah, because you are going to, when you come back, it's going to be super cold. And have you been for a run today?
Yes, I did my first run back today. So I've had a week of just sort of walking, hiking, that sort of stuff, and did my first run back today, just an very easy hour run, which felt nice. Came back, and then I actually, whilst the kids were at school, I slept for half an hour as well.
I always dream of naps. I never quite pull it off though.
Yeah, I do normally nap, but I did some things that I needed to do, and then kind of just crashed and burned a little bit. I was like,
Nice.
I'm gonna roll with that.
Yes, I think it's. I'm a regular napper. I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed. It's just something
Great,
that
you
I
go
do.
for it.
I think it's good practice as an ultra athlete to be able to lie down and just shut the mind off for 20, 30. I always think, I've just had 20 minutes. And then I wake up, like a bear. And then I have a cup of tea. And then often my watch goes, well done, you napped for 53 minutes. And I'm like, oh,
Whoa.
Whoa, 53 minutes. But I think, Trish, that is classic recovery, is that, oh, yeah, you go through the run, you're like, oh, this feels quite nice, I feel quite good. And then afterwards you go, oh, no, I'm going to need to. And that probably goes up. For me, it's like a week or so that happens where the run just takes over the day, really. That's your daily energy pot. There isn't much else for anything else.
I felt much better after the nap, that's for sure. I've been eating a load as well. When I did UTA, I had a bit of a sore throat, and it really impacted my throat. So I couldn't take any solid stuff down. So I did the whole race on liquid carbs and watermelon, and which was fine. It was fine. Like
that highly calorific snack watermelon.
Yeah, like 99% water.
Oh, but when it's a hot day, there's nothing better than watermelon. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it was so good. It was really, really good. I never normally eat watermelon either. Watermelon and Coke, I never eat in normal life. But, get me on an ultra and an aid station, I'm like, get it in.
I love it. Yeah, anything goes on an ultra. What about your local trails, or Trish? What are they like straight out the door? Can you get in the bush?
Oh, they're amazing. So they're great so this is great for elevation training for me. And that's really picked up for me in build up to this race. So doing a lot more elevation just because it's easier. So straight from my door, I can go straight up a hill. And I pretty much just use that hill just because of time constraints. I do a lot of up, down. And mentally, I think that's quite good as well. I don't listen to any music when I train. I just switch off and I do what I need to do. So that's been super handy for me. I mean, again, the weather is amazing. It very rarely rains. So it's spectacular. There's kangaroos like kicking about, halfway up watching me like, g'day, what are you doing? I mean, it's fantastic. And it's a really strong trail community around where I am in Canberra as well. They've got fantastic trails, really good running community. It's great. Like, I highly recommend it. If anyone is looking to go and visit anywhere in the world, Canberra is fantastic. And Australia trail running is awesome as well. It's got such a good vibe. Yeah, like literally the most enthusiastic people. It's great. It's really good.
Yeah, I loved it. I love my time in Australia. I don't know, they were just, like you say, versions of us. There was definitely a connection between a Brit and an Aussie guy and girl. But yeah, just us with a lot more, well, me with a lot more energy, I thought is, yeah.
Yeah. You put on like Barocca, you put on a good day.
On a good day. Yeah. And you said about wildlife, you go, again, you pop out the door, you like running over snakes. So you've got to be super mindful of that, or is that a bit of a myth?
You know what? The funny thing is, like, when I first got here, I was like, I'm sure I'm going to see a snake, because I do all my running in in the bush and stuff. I've not seen one snake in the wild since I've been here. And bear in mind, I lived in Cyprus and I've done stuff in Africa as well. And I've run on snakes in Cyprus, and I've seen lots of snakes in Africa and stuff. Not one snake in Australia. Like, I don't want to jinx it come the summer. Like, that's the end of me.
You'd definitely be like on your Google News search though, if you did get bitten and killed by a trail runner. UK trail runner dies, tragic snake. As long as you've got your hoodie on for the photos.
Yeah, for the
photo. Stop your garment.
But yeah, I've not. The only thing I've had is kangaroos. That's it. A kangaroo jumped on me, scared the crap out of me, because they're really well camouflaged as well. And I'd ran past one, and I think I scared it, and it scared me because it kind of jumped out in the track in front of me. I was like, whoa! It's just a kangaroo.
They're quite big, aren't they? I've never seen a kangaroo, but are they quite big?
There's lots of different species. Some are massive, yeah.
I'll check you out, Gary, in your knowledge. Yeah, look at you. It's like, yeah, you got the big red one there, like the red kangaroos, which are like, get my chest out, and then you get the ones with, yeah. You get the ones down here that we've got, which are like the grey kangaroos, and they're just like quite small, and they're like, you're right.
Are they pests in Australia? Like, are they something that they're like, the rose got in and it's just absolutely ruined my lawn?
There's a lot of roadkill. So like in the UK, you'll have like, you'll
an
have
old
like
pheasant.
The poor pheasants get it, don't they? In the south, the poor pheasants get it all the time. Like here, there's freaking roadkill, there's kangaroos all over the place, just like,
oh no, I can't bear it.
Honestly, it's bonkers, Eddie. I remember we did a road trip to, oh my goodness, Alice Springs.
Oh, straight in, yeah.
It was wild. We'd stopped the van initially because there was an eagle eating a kangaroo, so it was quite spectacular. Then after about 5 minutes, after the 20th eagle, it was like, oh, we keep driving. But yeah, I think they're all just attracted to the lights on the cars come when it gets dark.
Poor little wombats as well. I love a wombat. I mean, that's a fantastic animal, isn't it? Kind of just waddle along.
The Eddie, that's more the Eddie of Australian.
Apparently, the wombats though, they're the ones you need to watch. If you hit, like, nobody's fussed about hitting a kangaroo. Everyone's worried about hitting a wombat because they've got these like huge pelvises, like basically massive arses that can like break your car or something like that. Like their defense mechanism apparently is something tries to get into their burrow is to sit on it or block it with their arse until it dies.
This is my sort of creature.
Yeah,
I am relating to this a lot.
I mean, it's a mammal we can all relate to. It's like a marsupial, isn't it? It's a marsupial, mummy.
So I want to get into the deets of the race, but before we get into the deets of the race, can you just tell people that perhaps just jogging along, they're listening, they listen to you every week, they know you, they love you, but we don't often get a chance to, like, when we do our brew with the coaches, it's quite I like to say it's a strict ship. It's not, is it? It's a wild ride, but we don't get a lot of time to like talk about like how everybody's doing, how those running doing. Can you just tell us a little bit about like why Ultra Trail Australia 100K and how you trained for it before we talk about the race?
We were in Australia for a year and I knew I wanted to do their biggest races when I was out here, just because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I was like 100% need to do the biggest, most competitive races whilst I'm
I love
here.
that.
When I came over, we came over in December, end of December, I got an incredibly bad virus. I think, remember I said to you, like you guys at the time, like it was really, really bad chest virus. I think I actually had pneumonia. It was so rough. I was sick for a long time, like weeks and weeks. So I only started running again in sort of towards the end of February, I think it was. And I knew that I'd have to have quite concise blocks in order to try and build on what I could. Because there's always that pressure, isn't there? When you're coming up to a race and you're ill, you've got that ground to make up because you don't have that base coming into it. And I obviously had a huge base from Dragons last year. So I've got lots of miles in my legs. I know I can do long distance, but I was really lacking speed and my lungs were really struggling, to be honest. So started training in February. I centered it pretty much all on vert training.
What's the deets of what's the deets of the race? 100K.
So it's 100K and I think it's about 4,500 meters of elevation or something like that. It's a lot of stairs. So if you've been to the Blue Mountains, Gary, they do like the metal stairs that go straight up, and obviously straight down as well. So it's a huge race. So UTA, I think on the start line had something like 1,666 people were in that race, broken down into 7 waves. You've got to be able to run really fast on the flat to obviously make up all that time on the ups and downs. And a lot of the track is single track. So if you're behind someone, it's a lot of work to try and push forward. So I knew I needed to have a good a lot of vert training, but I also knew I needed to get faster as well to make up that time on the flat. Pretty much all of my efforts were vert, basically. Lots of running up and down. I didn't do very many track sessions. In fact, I did no track sessions for this build up. No track sessions at all. It was all centered on power, vert, and again, not a lot of mileage as well, because we're trying to make the most of our time here. I actually have less time than I would normally in the UK. And I normally rely on my family quite heavily as well to kind of pick up a bit of babysitting, but we don't have that here, so I've got to do a lot more. One of us always has to be around for the kids, and that's predominantly me because I work from home. So we don't have that capacity, and we're away on adventures and stuff on the weekends. So I've had to do less mileage and consolidate that a lot more, but it worked out. I felt it worked out. I've made a few changes that will definitely go well for me in the next race that I'm doing, which is another UTMB race out here, which is the Ultra Trail Kosciuszko, which is their biggest 100-miler, their most competitive 100-miler. And again, that would be a really strong field as well. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And again, in a beautiful location as well, in the Snowy Mountains, which is like their Alps, basically.
So what were the trails like? Because I've watched all like the reels of stuff, but then they always show bits of people coming in and out of checkpoints. And you're like, I don't want to see those bits. I could see a bit of the stairs. What was that? Did you train like up and down stairs? Because I can imagine my knees would be pretty sore if I did a lot of that.
So a lot of it was a real mix. So a lot of it was nice fire tracks. So great running on like gravel tracks, I would say, like in terms of the UK, like forest tracks, that kind of thing. But there was also a huge amount, which was, one part of it was coming down ropes. A lot of it was like a fair bit, there was technical sections as well, where you had to like physically climb down, use ropes, that kind of stuff. It was, yes, some of it was on the road as well, not a huge amount, but, generally running from various points. So to train for that, again, I did do a lot of stair work, because you're doing a huge amount of on your knees. So it's a huge impact on your knees. And I also did 2 strength sessions, like high quality strength sessions in my week. One of which is very, very heavy. I lift very heavy. And the second one is not as heavy, but then centered on a more variety in terms of movements for strength and conditioning and mobility. That works pretty well for me. But I think the key thing was lifting heavy and the power that you need in your legs for that kind of course. I was hitting PBs in like deadlift and squat as well.
I could tell. I didn't want to say, but you were rippling. Rippling. Have you got a local Aussie gym, or have you got stuff at home?
So I've been going to the Australian Defence College gym, which is great because it's amazing. It's an incredible gym, and it's huge, and it's basically me and just a bunch of army guys. Students.
This is my dream.
You're like
coming over.
But it's all the Australian forces guys. So it's really good. Again, the facilities are amazing. So I'm super lucky to be able to use their gym.
Is that because of your military background, Trish? You can get in there.
Yeah, I'm just lucky that I'm able to get in and use it.
Love
and
it.
She knows the special handshake. There's like an international.
Cheers, guys. I mean, they're all lifting mats and stuff as well. I'm like, PB, and they're like,
yeah.
Okay.
You need to put a weight on that bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gym humbles you quite quickly. I can't believe that amount of elevation. When I think of Australia, and my memory of Australia is no mountains, but I'm thinking 4,500 meters, over 100K. Did you ever get to the Blue Mountains, do recce's?
Yeah, no recce's at all. But to be fair, like the course was the most well-marked course I've ever run.
I saw like even like the technical bits, it had red. Yeah. It was like, run this path. You wouldn't get that in the Alps. They'd be like, not that way. Just follow everybody.
It was insane. Like, it's the best marked course I've ever been on. I had the route on my watch. I didn't look at it once, not one time. Like, there, it was perfectly marked. There was volunteers at all of the parts where there was even slight chance that you could go the wrong way, but even then you couldn't, because there's a big X off, like, that way and another. It was incredibly well marked. UTMB taking over these races, particularly in Australia, only kind of really happened in the last few years, but the race directors has done an incredible job with that race. It's a fantastic race. Like, it's really well organized. It's super inclusive. Like, there's a huge range of people doing it, generous cutoffs. You've got an incredible vibe there, because everyone, from the front runners to the back, everyone's just really excited and happy, and there's just loads going on. It was fantastic. It was really, really good.
Oh, it's nice to hear something nice about these races, because there's been a lot of negativity over here in the UK about UTMB buying out the bigger races and stuff. So it's nice to hear something positive. How you talked about 7 waves of your race. So when you towed the start line, how many people, because Gary and I were just talking, because he was like, it's my dream. I'd love to start a race that big. And I was like, oh, no, I don't like going to CAF4 when it's busy. I wouldn't like to have that many people.
I didn't make the first wave. I wasn't good enough.
Oh, that's tough.
Did you show them your hoodie to who you were?
Did you know who I am?
But maybe that was a good thing in the retrospect of the race as well.
I think it was a good thing to be. I mean, because it's all done on your seeding anyway.
Did you have a UTMB index anyway? Had you done one of their races before?
Yeah, so I have got an index, but my index is like 570 or something like that.
And
so
you're more of a 650 girl. I hear you. I get you.
So like the top seed for the first wave, I think they were probably I would think they were in plus 600 category. And you look at the guys who are like coming, I came like 26th female, like, the top 10 girls they're all elite runners, not that they're all like right up there. So it's a super competitive race. Yeah. I mean, so when I originally looked at the seedings, there was something like 50 women in the first wave that were ahead of me, and so I knew I'd have a bit of work to do to try and catch up. The only one issue with the race is that because you've got such a lot of people, there are inevitably bottlenecks at some of the technical bits. And on the first few sections where you're going down ropes and you're doing quite technical stuff, there were quite a few bottlenecks there. So, I was stood for like maybe 7 minutes, just stood still.
Oh, that'd be frustrating.
Trying to go down this. And this is the problem comes because obviously you've got the first wave that goes off, second wave of 5 minutes behind the first wave. So if you're a fast person if you're going for it in the second wave, you're going to catch up with those guys, and then you've almost got this like double bottleneck effect. So you've got the end of the first wave that you're trying to get through plus like the second wave, so it does accumulate. But to be fair, that was the only part I would say of the race that was where you lost that time. And to be fair, like unless you're going to be in the first looking for a podium place, it's probably not going to affect you, to be honest. There were guys like getting really like upset but like it doesn't make that difference. You can make up that time on the flat in the aid station. That makes more of a difference, I think.
To be fair, you enter a race that's got all those people and the single track trails, you're gonna appreciate I wouldn't get frustrated. There's going to be a bottleneck. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there were people that I raced with who at the start, we were to and froing pretty much the whole race, and I lost them for huge periods of the race. They'd be ahead or then I'd be ahead, but then like at the end we all kind of came in roughly the same kind of time. So I think it just goes to show actually, like, I don't think it makes that much of a difference overall. And like I said, unless you're podiuming, then you're going to be at the front anyway. So
what was your goal then going into the race, Trish, when you're standing on the start line?
I'd had a couple of very good blocks, so I knew I was fit. I was the week leading up to it. I picked up the girls' cold, it's just one of those things, isn't it, with parenting? I think you kind of like just have to accept. I had very like sharp taper. I got the cold on the Monday, and I was racing on the Saturday, so I just stopped everything and rested as much as possible. Got there and felt like I could definitely race because it wasn't on my chest or anything. It was just a really sore throat and like snotty. So I kind of had to lower my expectations a bit on that. My plan was to just go out and run as hard as I could, run as well as I could, and to try and break into that first wave as much as possible. I was happy with that. I think, like I said, I think there was different
bibs on or anything so you could identify your prey?
No, you couldn't. They did have, you had the same bib, but then you had a tiny, tiny circle with what wave you were on. And obviously you have to wear your bib at the front. And I couldn't waste the time.
I hit. What was that?
I was like, what wave are you? What wave?
Am I crushing you?
So I tend to not really think like that anyway, because I'm at the end of the day, I'm going to run my own race. And whether you're faster than me or not, it's not how I race, to be honest. I just run it to my capacity. What's the best I can do at this moment, and how hard can I push at this moment? And I try and stay in that as a flow. I don't really get distracted by stuff around me. So that's how I race. But it worked quite well for me. And I knew I was going to have issues with nutrition because my throat was so sore.
Oh, Trish.
So I'd made the decision to go liquid carbs early on, and again that worked for me because I've trained with that before. And again, it's only 100k, right? So like you can smash that out, no problem. It's like, be fine.
Now, in hindsight, were you like, I was more sick than I thought I was, or were you actually fine? Because it's really hard call to make, isn't it? When you're just like, you're able to carry on with real life, but you just don't feel good.
Yeah, like it is a hard call, and I think that only comes from knowing your body, really. I mean, like I remember running. We started, and we were it's probably about 6k in. You know, when your watch pops up to tell you how you're doing, and my watch kind of pops up, and it's like, you are poor. I was like, you Gorman, give me the program. Got another 90 to push out here. You get your shit together. But like it wasn't that bad. It was a sore throat and snotty, and I knew I could run on that. What I did struggle with, I struggled not being in threshold, because obviously you've got a cold, you've got some kind of virus in your body, so you naturally push up to threshold much quicker. So I was in threshold a lot.
Goodness me. All right, okay, the gun goes off. Talk us through, Trish. Talk us through all the way to Foggy Knob.
You just wanted to say that. You just wanted to say
that.
Well, I couldn't wait to get to Foggy Knob. But it's the going off. I mean, so we were actually delayed to start as well, and it was cold that morning. So I left my partner and the kids in the hotel, and they're all like, dead to the world. It was absolutely freezing on that start line. And then, so the gun goes off, the elites shoot off, we're 5 minutes behind. And it's that initial thing, isn't it? Everyone starts off way too fast. People are like smashing out 5k PBs. I'm like, oh, geez.
Yeah, I looked at the splits of the girl that won, and she was sub 6 minute miling for the first like 3-4.
Yeah,
wow.
She was fast. Because of the nature of the race and the bottlenecks, you have got to try and get ahead if you want to not get caught up in those bottlenecks. First stage, I absolutely loved. I mean, there was a lot of technical bit. There was like rope climbing. There was like ridges and stuff like that. It was just glorious. I mean, the scenery in the Blue Mountains it's just some of the most incredible scenery in the world. I mean, it's just fantastic. I mean, to be able to run in that kind of environment, like it just totally makes you feel completely and utterly alive. Like that's the reason why you run trail, because it's just beautiful. They've got these like blue, pink hues coming up from the sun, and this like the scenery that's like, out of a painting. It's just absolutely spectacular. And then, we're kind of coming up this kind of ridge and this like thin ridge line, and you've got a guy playing like a didgeridoo and other Aboriginal instruments. It was just
sounds sensational.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, it was just so like spine tingling, absolutely phenomenal. It was such an incredible experience, that in itself. And there was examples like that through the whole race, I would say. It had a real kind of cultural feel to it, which was fantastic. And the range of people who were there as well was just incredible. There was a huge range of people there from different countries. There was a lot of Asian runners there as well, because obviously it's a big race. So you're getting people from all over the world, really, which was fantastic. To be fair, I can't actually remember what the places were called, because I just ran from place to place.
But did you feel that first section that maybe because the pace was hot, were you losing places then? Was that quite frustrating, or were you completely comfortable thinking, hey, I'll see you all later?
I tend to be quite comfortable. Like I don't over egg it generally. Like I always try and stay within my parameters. And a lot of people ran off, but I was pretty confident I could hold that pace and maintain it. From my perspective, I was going to have something in reserve for the second half. So we had coming up to the biggest, one of the biggest inclines was coming out of the valley back up to the top of the Blue Mountains. There was this horrific climb. absolutely horrific climb. There was a couple of guys I could hear chatting behind me. One was from Derry, and the other was Sky from Liverpool. And it was just, they were just fantastic banter. They were like, about what a glorious time they were having in various colourful language. Which I can't repeat because otherwise it won't be a PG.
Yeah.
But they were such great banter, and you're able to then jump on the back of people, aren't you? And then they kind of pull you through. But we got to the first big aid station. I mean, this is the other thing. The race, it had incredible aid stations. I mean, I think it had maybe 6 or 7 aid stations. Again, they were all incredibly well stocked, like amazing aid stations. And you were able to have like 3 drop bag locations as well, which surprised me because I didn't put anything in the drop bags at all. Like my partner and kids met me at the halfway point, but other than that, I didn't have any drop bags. There were people there with drop bags. They had more kit than I had on Spine. Honestly, on winter Spine. I mean, I had a spare pair of socks in my backpack. That was it.
I love it.
These guys had the kind of like ice box like packs you get. They had like 3 of those. Honestly, more kit. They had more kit than I had on the winter Spine. I was like, what is
the kit list like?
Pretty good, actually. It was a standard. So they're really into they don't like lycra here. So your bottom layer has to be wool or poly, what's it called? Poly.
Oh goodness me, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're basically, I had to have like woolly long johns backpack. Which is interesting. I mean, not that I was going to wear them, but so that was the only part of the kit list which I would say would be different from a UK race. You had to have like a woolly fleece as well, not a puffer, like a standard woolly fleece.
I think that's more sensible. I just want a few more details about the checkpoint food. Like, what we talking? Was it like a barbecue?
Wouldn't that be great, eh? just like Barbieing up some of that roadkill on the side. The checkpoints were fantastic. So they were you had, is it NARC nutrition?
I've not tried that, but I've seen they sponsored the UTMB races now.
Yeah, so I used their carb drink, and it was really good. Like for me, it worked really, really good. And yeah, like I said, I did that with the whole race on that with a sideline of watermelon. It was fantastic. No stomach issues at all. I really, really rated it. They had a ton of other stuff. As many snacks, noodles, crisps, sweets, whatever you wanted. Basically, they had gels. They had the nutrition was amazing. It was spot on. But you've got a huge amount of people there, so in terms of budget, I imagine but
you never hear that about UTS, do you? You don't hear, the checkpoints are incredible. I've only heard negative.
I've crewed on UTS as well. But that was one of the first ones. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was some of the best aid stations. The whole race, the aid stations were the best I've seen, probably anywhere, I would say. But I didn't spend a lot of time in the aid station, so I was literally in.
You got 7 minutes to catch up. You got 7 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I had to hunt down that first wave.
I did see some people being crewed.
You are allowed crew at 3 of the aid stations. I didn't have a crew, but my partner and kids met me at the halfway point. And I remember they brought me some pizza. So I changed my T-shirt and basically had a drink.
Put your woolly long johns on because you're like, I've got these. I want to wear them.
Tried to take a bite of the pizza, which they obviously got for me, but my throat was just closed in. So I could barely swallow it. I was like, I can't eat that. But it was so funny. My kid was like, Mummy, we've been here for like 2 hours and you've only came for 2 minutes. She called my mum and dad afterwards. She was like, Nanny, Mummy was only here for like 2 minutes. We were in 2 hours. It was freezing cold.
Yeah, I have had a few of those before. Yeah,
they're not the best fans.
And as you run away, they're crying. Yeah, when they're like,
No, they were happy. They wanted to go back to the hotel and the pool. They were like, come on, let's get out of here. She's gone.
I always feel sorry for her. I've seen many a family and young children maybe up around the Cheviots, and I'm just thinking, oh my goodness me, literally their dad's going to run past for 30 seconds, probably angry, throw all the gels back at them that they thought they'd wanted. And then it's see you later. Yeah, I used to do that. Guilty. I've done that a few times, but yeah, not anymore.
Yeah,
I remember the first time Bryn crewed me with all 3 kids aged 3, 2 and 6 months.
Oh.
And we didn't tell them that I was going to run past and go. So they thought, there was a big up, Mummy's coming, here she's coming. And then Mummy just comes and like quick kisses, and then Mummy leaves. What?
Mummy's leaving. She's leaving.
She's going where? I remember
She doesn't love us. She doesn't love
and the
us.
screaming and poor Bryn, and Bryn being like, just go, just get. And I was like, okay, right. Okay, so we've learned some important crew points. We don't want the children.
Then there's that pressure for you running. You're like, well, the kids, like, because at the end I was like, it was quite cold, and at the end I was like, geez, I've got to really get a shifty on because the kids are going to be freezing. The pressure for parenting, honestly.
Pressure for getting back to parenting. But you moved up through that field. When did you start like, okay, engage the superpower, I'm going to start? Because it was about 60 places. What was it? Gary's putting it down. 6
foot track to emergency aid station. Yeah, you got it right. You rallied big time.
Yeah, I don't know where that is. But basically, I ran to feel after I knew from the halfway point from about 50 miles. So from about, I don't know what that is in K. Was it from about 50K, I was like, okay, so I need to. This is halfway, so I need to get on with it now. If there's whatever I've got in the tank, this is time to kind of push through. So I put down some hard work there, like some real grind. But I think also like I'm consistent. It's not really that I pick up pace, although I did pick up pace, but I'm just consistent in my effort. That's generally quite helpful in ultras because people will peak and ebb, but I'm consistent and I do grind. I'm a good grinder. I don't mind the misery, and I quite like it. So I do dig in quite hard. Coming towards the end, it was just the pressure of the kids being outside. So I've got to get in.
What was that like? Home straight after emergency aid station, and yeah, you'd got some amazing pictures of your children. I saw your Instagram post too. That was lovely. Finish emotions. Oh my goodness me, what was that like?
It was. The last 6, so the last 10K was it was tough.
Isn't it up the steps?
Yeah, so the last the last 10K is pretty much all up, and the last K is essentially vertical. My partner was checking it on my, checking the tracker because it just says imminent.
Yeah.
But what they don't realize is that you might be a K away, but it's a K down. And you've got to climb these stairs, which are just basically vertical metal stairs. And that was hard graft. Like I was with a few people there, and we were kind of like pushing each other through that. You dip in and out, where there'll be times where you'll take the lead and someone else will take the lead, and I find it's best in those times. Like I'm a big fan of, I was saying kind of when you think of racing, think of it as push and pull. You're being pushed by the people behind you, pulled by the people in front, and you've got to basically get on the train at some point to either be pushed or pulled. And if you think about it that way, it's easier to switch off and mentally disengage. So if you can jump on the back of someone and allow them to pull you forward, do the work, that really helps with your, not having to think about everything, and you can just kind of zone out then and focus on what you're doing, which is trying to get up, trying to keep moving.
Did you have a mantra, Trish, that you were saying to yourself?
No, I don't really have a mantra. I know it sounds, because I'm quite good at a mantra.
I know. I
Quite
thought
good.
you were gonna come up with some
Nailed on. I thought you'd have a mantra, Trish.
where the goose flies, I shall make the eggs.
I don't mind the grind. That's the one. That's a new mantra.
I don't
I
mind
think,
the grind.
I think the key thing I would say is, when I do these events, I'm a big fan of belief. And people talk about when you start a race, where do you see yourself in that race? Do you see yourself, fighting for the top part of the race, fighting to podium, fighting to be in the top 10 or whatever? And for me, I don't believe it. I never believe, for example, in my ability to win a race or something like that. What I always do believe is my ability to endure. So I would say always believe in your ability to endure. And that's my strongest attribute, I would say, as a runner. I never doubt in my ability to endure the situation, to endure the race, to endure the time. I find that's much more helpful way of looking at when you're doing these types of activities, because then it's less about place. It's about, are you running to the best to your capacity this day? Are you running yourself proud this day at this time? It's very rare you have the perfect race. There's lots of factors that come into it, from nutrition to weather to, having a cold a few days before. But if you're running to the best that you can do, you're never going to be disappointed in your performance, because you've done all you can and you've done yourself proud. And I think that's a much more valuable way to look at running, and particularly competing as well. I mean, the other way I look at competing is I never get start line nerves or anything like that. I don't get nervous at all about races. I know people
I've seen
think
it
it's weird.
firsthand in the Dragon's Back race. In that field, I was a mess, and you were cool as a cucumber, Trish. I wish I had some of those vibes.
One of the things that keeps me super focused is perspective. Like I've been super fortunate and maybe even unfortunate to have a huge amount of like worldly experience, I think, and to see some really, see people go through some really difficult stuff. And I never forget that running is a real privilege. And I'm super lucky to be able to have this opportunity to run in the Blue Mountains and sightsee 100K around it, and be here at this moment in this time. I just don't give myself the headspace to worry about stuff that's not really a big deal in the grand scheme of things. Because again, I'm running, to me, what's the best I can do at this time. And the way I see competition is I don't see competition as, someone beating me as that devalues my effort. I think competition's a really good thing. I'm very competitive. I'm super competitive. Like, I'll compete with my friends on anything. The way I see it is that, when I start on that start line, everyone is there for me to pull me forward so I can get the best result I can that day. So I don't see it as people beating me to grinding me into the ground. I see it as a collective effort for all of us to do the best we can and to encourage and inspire each other to, to put in the best effort we can on that day. And I think that's a much more grounded way to look at racing and competing in general, because it's not just about you when you do these races. It's about pushing the next generation or the next great races forward. And if we can do that and remember that and encourage that, we're only improving the sport. We're only improving the future for our kids and stuff like that. I think that's a much collaborative way and promising way to look at stuff.
You've just given Gary, he's going to stand on that Lakeland 100 start line and go, "You're all here for me."
We're all here for me. Jump on that train, Gary. Jump on the train.
I push, I pull.
I don't mind the grind.
So people listening, perhaps, Trish, I do hope that throughout that race you were saying to all those people, I am a co-host of a very well-known UK podcast.
Trish is always represented.
I never claim the podcast. I was just saying.
Oh, you can.
I never do. I always say, "Oh, you should listen to it. It's got some really good guys on it.
Some really good segments on it."
People always say, "Are you on it?"
The coach is really good.
It's Eddie and Gary. Eddie and Gary, you should listen to them. They're really good.
No, most of the positivity and the bits that people love are you, Trish. So I'd say claim it.
I honestly don't think people even know.
Yeah, they
just like
do.
some random, like there's no face behind it. It's just like Trish.
It's our AI. It's our AI for the podcast.
Like AI.
It's hard to recommend that race because for people living in the UK, but maybe a bucket list amazing race for people to do. You'd recommend people are thinking about a big trip or happen to be in Australia or could be in Australia or are in Australia. It's definitely, even though it's a massive race, is super enjoyable.
Yeah, like it's definitely a bucket list race. Like if you go to Australia, you should definitely do that race. I mean, I'd say it's one of the best races I've ever done, just because of the whole vibe around it. It was amazing, and I'm really looking forward to the 100-miler in November as well.
Okay, so you've got quite a lot of. What's the terrain like for that one?
It's more it's mountains basically, so there shouldn't be any steps as far as I'm aware. It's much more mountainous. But the elevation isn't that savage either. It's I think it's just over 5,000 meters.
Yeah, there's some running in there too, isn't there?
Yeah, it isn't too bad actually. So I think it might be a bit chilly.
Yeah, November kind of sea level is going to be roasting hot up in the mountains. Yeah, it should be quite pleasant, hopefully.
Yeah.
Is it a UTMB race or is it still?
It is, yeah. Top 3 go through.
Oh, hello.
Oi, oi.
I'm
Yeah.
not competitive. Oi, oi.
Again, it's a very competitive race. So they've got, I don't know the numbers, but I imagine it will be over 1,000 people again. If UTA is 1,600 plus, this I imagine will probably be fairly similar.
Do you think it might suit you a little bit longer to really get that grind on, and maybe a little bit more running in there?
I think I can do all right at it. It's yeah. I mean, I learned a lot in terms of how my body responded to the last few blocks of training. It took a couple of blocks of training. It worked really, really well. Like I feel like I've nailed that training to do it in the time I did and not to overtrain as well. That worked really well for me. So I think I've got a good period of time now to lead up to 20 something weeks to Koski. So I think I can get some really good training in and hopefully do better in the seeding. Again, like there's pressure coming into that race. The only pressure for me is the fact that it starts at like 2:00 in the morning. So the kids are not going to be there at 2:00 in the morning. And if you do it, I think the top time, female time from last year was like 22 and a half hours or something like that.
Oh gosh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's a top end athlete as well. So, I'll probably be maybe, I mean, the top 5, I think, were around 24 hours. So again,
it might be quite good. You could have breakfast with the kids if it all goes well.
So
I could watch them have
see,
breakfast while you go.
I can't see them. They're not going to be hanging around the finish line for me to come in at like 4 a.m. They are not going to be there.
No, but sometimes I think that's quite good though, especially a mega race like that, because you're going to be a bit off your tits on tiredness and you can have a moment and then have maybe a hot drink or something and then see them rather than Mummy, can we go back to the pool now? Can we go back to the pool now? Is the pool open now? Is the pool open now?
I don't like my children see me when I'm at my lowest ebb. Don't enjoy that.
Oh, I do. I love it. I love them seeing Mum absolutely destroyed.
My kids are absolutely traumatized now, though. Like, it's so funny because people always say, I don't know if you guys get it as well, but people always say to my kids, do you want to be an ultra runner like Mummy? And they're like, no. Have you seen her?
She just hobbles around. She hobbles around with a big red face.
No word of a lie. This is something my kids have actually said. They're like, no, have you seen, like, she loses bits. There's bits of her feet all over the house. Bits of her feet just fall off.
Yeah, it's not a good advert, is it?
Yeah, they're not.
So they're not like, no, we're good. No. We don't want to do that.
No, but that's not what we're trying to tell them. We're not saying you do what I do, but it's much more of the life for leading, the grit, the grind, the keeping going, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They can put that into a lovely football game or a ballet performance. They don't.
I just think whatever they do. I mean, if they want to run, that's great. I've never pushed them to kind of do either or. I just hope that what they see from, and again, like seeing women, do so well as well, in those kind of events. I just hope they see that kind of stuff and think, actually there's value in just turning up and showing up and trying and doing your best. And that's standard. That's how life should be. That's what we do. We don't quit. We work with it.
Never quit.
Roll with the punches.
We always have to say an American accent in our house. I'm not sure why. No,
Where's that come from?
Me, probably. Me.
I love it. Yeah, you can't be what you can't see. So whatever it is, not to be running, but just put yourself out there.
Can't see it, you can't be it. There we go. Look at that. See, back on it. Back on the mantras.
Any more questions, Eddie, before we do the quick five?
No, I'm ready for the quick five.
Okie dokie. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh,
I did add a few.
6.
7.
Okay. I bet a veteran
Just
first.
spice it up a bit.
Oh,
Spice it.
what's the thing you miss most from the UK?
Snowdon. Running with my friends around Snowdon.
Yeah. Won't be long.
Miss you guys. You know who you are.
Do you dive into, you're at a hotel, you see the pool, do you dive in or do you dip your toe in first?
Dive in 100%. I can't do that dippy stuff. That's just torture. Just have to dive in.
What about you, Eddie? I'm a dippy. I dip me toe.
I'm on the sunbed. Our pool has to be very hot to get me in a swimming pool these days now.
I have to dive in head first as well. I can't jump in. I have to dive in head first. That's the most effective.
Favorite thing on the barbecue?
Oh, I love a steak. Sorry, veggies. I love a steak on the barbie.
Barramundi. I remember barramundi from my time in Oz.
Barramundi, yeah. They love a bit of barramundi out here.
It's a 10 out of 10 fish.
It's a big fish as well, isn't it? Big meaty fish.
Kangaroo or koala? Obviously, we talked about this earlier. Some kangaroos are quite big. This would be a nice, small, cuddly kangaroo. Yeah, which one would be your pet forever?
Koalas, because they sleep all day. I know I don't have to look after them. Just chuck some eucalyptus at them. and they're good. Easier than cats. Sleep all day, eucalyptus, done.
Go-to workout. You can't be bothered to do the training plan. You just think, I'm just going to go out the door and do a session. What would be your go-to workout?
So I do love the easy run, but generally when I can't be bothered and I need to get some elevation in, I always just go for a base incline. So yeah, a base incline and on an easy level. That's a good one to do. But generally I have like a loop. So if worst case scenario, I always just do that loop as a minimum. And the way I get myself through it is I just kind of think, well, I'll just go out and have a little shuffle, and I take it super, super easy. And then I go, if I feel like upping it a bit, then I will. But I go easy. Easy is the way.
It's every day for me.
Yeah. I've seen your dates this week. That's not easy. All right, the big question this time. Every week we share the podcast over on Instagram, Trish, and you get the choice of the Instagram story and reel music. I've pimped up our reels. We got music on our reels now, Trish. What's it going to be? What song are you going to choose this week?
I've never listened to the podcast.
Awkward.
This is where sometimes we have awkward discussions with people that go, oh, right. Oh, and you think, oh, you've never listened.
Our kids are really into it. Oh, at the moment. So we're listening to a bit of, I'm so bad at is it Billy Idol?
What, the rocker?
Yeah, the Midnight Hour, raw, more,
very current song.
Raw,
I love it.
Raw. Shows how much I know.
What's
Billy
it?
Idol.
Hey, little sister, what have you done?
What is
that? What is the song called? I know which one you mean. More. Midnight Hour it might be.
Midnight Hour.
No, that's
Rebel Yell. That's it. Rebel Yell.
Rebel
Yell. She said,
I was not expecting that, Trish. I must have listened to that. Oh God, it's like 40 years ago. That song. That's not.
Yeah, but it's a classic, though, isn't it? It's a good one. This is going to clearly draw a clear line between your supporters here, because the old school are going to absolutely know what that tune is. All the young
is that what's current on Australian radio? Billy Idol, is that?
No, my kids are just really into really into rock at the moment. I'm because I've been trying to teach them how to play the ukulele.
I can see the connection.
Yeah, they love a bit of rock. So not that so we've just been trying
ukulele. Love it.
Yeah, River Rebel Yell.
He's got quite similar hair to you too, Trish. If you bleached your hair,
he's my idol.
He is your idol, isn't he? I can see the similarities.
Yeah, I want to be a rock star with my ukulele.
He doesn't seem to.
What
Yeah,
it
his guitar's a little bigger. Oh, Trish, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. I feel so refreshed to hear really positive
Yeah.
vibes from a UTMB race, and also to hear about a race on the
I wish it was a
other
bit
side of the world.
closer. I fancy a chunk of it.
I fancy a chunk of that too. Maybe Patreons, guys. Starting, get us to Australia. It's so lovely to hear you to talk so positively and making the most of your year out there. We're looking forward to having you back, but we're also enjoying living vicariously through your kangaroos and koala stories. Keep it going. Good luck with the next block of training, and we look forward to hearing all about it come end of November. Is it?
Yep, end of November is the big one. So, and then, back to the UK for UK adventures.
Have you got any plans for next year?
Yeah, I've got a big plan. But it's I can't say it now because it wouldn't be cool.
All right. Okay. We
Super
look
exciting. Can't wait.
Yeah, you'll hear all about it.
Take care. Speak to you soon.
Take care, Trish. Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Never a chore, is it? Spending time with Trish. Always learn something new. Listen to her wise words of wisdom. Time with Trish. That could be a good little
She's a radiator, Eddie.
She's a radiator. Ultra Trails Australia sounds great. Oh my gosh, if you lived in Australia, you'd be doing that.
I reluctantly I'd love to do it because it's so far away. But yeah, if I was ever in Australia at the right time of year, I would be all over that race.
Can you imagine my knees going down those steps though, Gary? If I don't like the walking lunges, I'm not sure that my knees would take it.
I forgot about the time of year because when we're talking, obviously, I just visualized it would be an inferno, but no.
No, they all look quite cold. Yeah, and all the reels I've seen.
Thanks, Silver Sweden, for sponsoring our Strava Club and Tales from the Trails section. Don't forget, patrons can save a handsome 20% off over at silversweden.uk. First up on the random wheel spinner, John Keat. Awesome trails, John. 37 miles and 10,000 feet of vert on Sunday. And the total date, 66.5 miles for the week. Longest run of 36.9 miles. Vert for the week, 11,621 feet. Yeah, that looked lovely. Sensational. Bainer McPerkins, 64.6 miles with a longest run of 64.6 miles and total elevation, 4,684 feet. Bainer was doing the London to Brighton 100k. I love a point to point. I did the London to Brighton bike ride when you can see the sea coming. Oh, it's magic. But yeah, that looked awesome. Rowan Brown, 57 miles for the week, 28 miles longest run, total elevation 6,345 feet. Lewis to Eastbourne with Rob looked ace. And I wonder, you'll know the geography. Would this be like a Centurion Recce South Downs way?
I'm not sure. I can't see the map, but I think Lewis is a different way into Eastbourne than the South Downs way Centurion race goes, because you can go in on the Seven Sisters, but Centurion doesn't go in that way. But I'm not sure. Still, cracking route. I think they'd have gone over the Seven Sisters on that route, which is the end of the Beachy Marathon. Another one, Gary, you'd be all over.
Lovely, lovely photographs over on Strava. Lots of Cape Wrath action. Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow. They literally did dominate our leaderboard, so apologies if we're not giving you a shout out. But yeah, well done everyone towing the line. 4 more dial up to 11. And well done to everyone. Full finishers and explorers too. Yeah, 100%. That is a bucket list race. This week's Heavy Flex goes to James Cooper. I've seen James for week after week after week. He's doing a marathon a day for 366 days. So 183.9 miles for James. Sensational Strava stats. That's a alliteration there. Yeah, running a marathon every day, like I said, raising money for Samaritans. Such an important cause, that Samaritans. Show them some love if you can afford to. Kudos to all our Strava Club members. And if you'd like to be in with a chance of a random shout out, then pop over and join our Strava Club.
Hi, Gary and Eddie. Why did everybody always go Gary and Eddie? Hi, Eddie and Gary.
Oh, sorry to butt in. I corrected YouTube. I rebranded the Tea and Trails.
Let me see.
Well, I thought, I wondered if it was just some kind of male privilege. I just didn't realise. I just didn't think, full stop.
No,
and I put it to my moral compass, Lisa, and she said, come on, Gary. Rebranded.
well, I think the thing is, it started off as your YouTube channel, though, didn't it? It was your YouTube channel.
I thought there'd be a lot of heavy lifting to
Oh,
rebrand it, and it wasn't.
Oh, how do I go on the homepage of it? Oh, you've rebranded it. Tea and Trails by Gary Thwaites.
I didn't say that. But no, you're right. I was wrong.
No. Well, can we have that as a soundbite?
T-shirt, that is.
Hi, Gary and Eddie. Love the podcast. Now a patron. Oh, thank you. Found you after a search of ultra running when I started my trail running journey. That's lucky you found us in that search, isn't it? Because there's some other searches where it brings up some other YouTube videos. I had never really enjoyed running, did a bit here and there in fits and starts and maximum of 10K at uni. Last year at 56 and carrying a bit of timber, I started the couch to 5K around week 3 and committed to regular running. That was in July last year. Here I am 9 months down the line and I finished the lap this morning. Wow. My first ultra. Heavy flex first ultra that. You and your podcast have been inspirational as I listen on most of my runs. Wonderful mix of all aspects, especially like the frankness about the lows. So I thought of you as I ran, jogged, walked and hobbled around 75k of Windermere with my friends who have been incredibly supportive and helpful. I don't know if you want to use the attached video. We did. But it could become a segment at the start of the podcast. It has. And your loyal followers could produce better intros. I don't think they could. From amazing places. All the very best and keep up the great work. Love, Blakely. From UGRC, which is the Ultra Gumphers Running Club. I hope I've said that right. Blakey, you started a phenomenon. We love it. We love that you found the podcast. Amazing journey to finish the lap. I don't want to say it, but I wonder where you go after you've done the lap as your first ultra. Woohoo! PS, precision fuel and hydration really are the dog's bollocks. They'll be pleased to hear that. Thanks again, Silver, for sponsoring Deals from the Trails. We love sharing your stories. Keep them coming. Please email them to hello@teaandtrails.com.
People have been really generous over on Apple Podcast. We have got lots and lots of 5-star reviews. I'm going to go for Sue Wilson. It's another 5 for Eddie and the Northern Traverse Tales. Oh, yes, indeed. 5 could easily have been 10. Eddie, your reflection and account of your adventures traversing the land were fab. Listening to this was informative, inspiring, and yet again, I needed a tissue or 3 when you, as always, with truth and honesty, tell it how it is. The running is often the easy part, organising family, leaving family, and then returning to your role as a mum. Keeping it northern is so hard. Your honesty is to be applauded as the glossy pics and interviews with others at time like this. And I think it is what makes you the lovely woman, top athlete, top mum, top co-host, top person you are. Thank you for all that you do. Say, and some may say overshare, not me. Say what you see and hear. I hear every week a brilliant conversation with Gary, and I tell everyone about tea and trails, even if they don't want to hear. Keep sipping the tea, keep oversharing. Thank you to you both for another great episode. Kiss, kiss, Sue. That's Sue Wilson via Apple Podcast. Thanks, Sue. Yeah, and I'll repeat everything Sue says. Yeah, it is a joy, Eddie.
Oh, you want to call me the best co-host, the best? Go on then, you just repeat it, my friend.
Oh, Sue said it all. But no, it's a treat. And I really appreciate this time.
Keep those 5-star reviews rolling in. Makes us easier because some runners, some people, they're running on the trails. They're running ultras. They're not knowing where to start. They're needing some company. They don't know about us, Gary. And they're out there. They're lonely. They're sad. They're listening to like Spotify Choose Your Playlists. Have you ever done
awake
that?
At night? No.
Just the worry that some people are lonely and sad. It keeps Gary awake.
And turn.
Oh. Oh, let's go to our competition.
For the month of June, our awesome friends Protein Rebel are providing the prizes. And to celebrate the launch of their new vegan protein powder, we have 5 tins, 20 servings in each tin to give away. 3 for our legend patrons and 2 for everyone else. So yeah, 1 legend will win 3 tins and 1 regular human will win 2 tins. 1 mere mortal will win 2 tins. And all you have to do is, be a legend patron, and everybody else needs to subscribe to our YouTube channel and add the word heavy flex to the contents for this YouTube video. That's episode 73. It's 100% free to subscribe to YouTube. So don't worry, it shouldn't cost you a penny. Winners picked at random at the end of June. Is it going to be another solid week, Eddie? What is coming up?
It's not started well, Gary. It has started off with just a gym session and no running because I have ill children.
Early
days, and that actually I was ready for a rest day, to be honest. But I went to the gym. I smashed out my gym in 36 minutes, and as I walked out, the guy that owns the gym said, "Oh, done already?"
Smashed it.
Judgy. I'm in there. I was like, no time for rest. I had to wash the mat down afterwards because of my breast sweat from after doing my breast
sweat.
I was like, I've got 6 children. I got to get home. So, and then the rain. Yes, it was raining so hard. So I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm going to take a rest day. I don't want to go out in that. I don't want to leave my little poor sick kids again. So the week has started off on a little down note. But yeah, I was tired after my roast potatoes on Sunday. My belly needed a little bit more time. So I'm going to repeat the same sessions. I don't like to do a session straight after a rest day because I always feel a bit clunky after a rest day. I like to have a easy back into it sort of run. So I'm going to just do the same sessions 4x8, 6x5 again. But now I've got some little parameters of what I did last week. It's always a question, isn't it, of like when you progress. So what do I do? Do I add more volume or do I go faster? But I always like to bury in first, dig in, get 3 or 4 weeks of doing the same sessions. The grind we talk about a lot. You don't need to do fancy stuff. Within that session is exactly what I need. I don't need to add anything else. I don't need to mix it up. I don't need to be entertained.
Do you ever get that with a coaching client? They expect some little secret sauce.
I set the parameter quite low to start. And I'm like, if you're looking for a clown, an entertainment monkey, you got to do the grind. I do try and mix up, but a recovery run is a recovery run. An easy hour is an easy hour. That's where you put your pennies in the bank. So you just got to go out and do it. But I definitely wouldn't set people the same sessions. I try and like the same stuff, but mix it up a little bit. But me, I am very happy. But some clients are very happy. They like, 6 weeks. Let's just see the build from doing the same thing. And I'm going to do that for the next 3 or 4 weeks, but I'm just going to tweak them slightly. And this is where the magic happens. I know what I did on the 6x5 minutes. So I'm going to do a couple of them a little bit faster than I did and just see what happens, see if I feel more comfortable. I'm always on the edge, Gary, with having a really busy work and with the kids, the recovery isn't there. So I have to just be so careful that I don't overreach because the last thing I want to do is to be on the podcast. I always think of that. I think the last thing I want to do is turn up the podcast and you go, Eddie, and me go, my hamstring, it's gone because they'd be awful, wouldn't it? We've been so lucky. I mean, I've had a few things, but so same sessions with a little bit of progression within those sessions and just try and keep up the volume with the tiredness. Because, I mean, it's the end of May. In France, pretty soon, within 2 weeks, I'll go, should we shut the schools? Yeah. Let's shut the schools for summer. Let's get out of here. And that's going to be a little bit, summer's going to be hit and miss. So I'm kind of like, let's just get a good June in. It'll just have to be what it will be over the summer. So nothing magic, just little glimmers of sparkles in those sessions, please.
Do you think you'll throw in a little 10K trail race, or if you're in the UK, a park run?
10K trail race. Oh my God. So I am looking at some, shorter to me, I'm looking at some marathon trail races.
Okay.
I got a couple on the cards that I'm looking at after the summer holidays, thinking, and I looked at the fast. The women's time for one of them was 3:05 on trail. So they're fast. So I've got to get out. I would like to do that. Get out of my lovely 200-mile comfort zone and learn to run a little bit faster. And also I need to practice my nutrition and I would like to do a ton of races to practice my nutrition to see if I can actually do stuff without vomiting everywhere. So anyway, that will come. We'll talk about that in let's just get through June. What about you? Where are we now? So we're turning all our focus to Lakeland 100 now.
Yeah. 13 valleys, as much as it's going to be sensational, well, fingers crossed it'll be sensational. It's
2 months. It's 8 weeks to Lake 100, isn't it?
It's 30 valleys is an adventure, all eyes on Lake 100. So yeah, trying to get to the lakes. That long run will be at that Lakeland 100. 13 valleys, pretty similar ratio of elevation per distance. I can't really do that locally, so although I can get in the nature reserve and get some elevation, but it's not that classic kind of 200 feet for every mile or so. Be more mindful of that. Went to the cinema last night. And my head touched the pillow at 12:30, which is very, very late. I got a judgy how did I feel on my watch when I woke up, like 5 hours sleep or something like that. Oh my god, but sensational. I went to see The Fall Guy. I'm not too sure if anybody has seen it, our listeners. Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Yeah,
she's my favorite. Is it scary? Is it violent?
No, action, funny. There's like a bit of peril. It's 12, so yeah, it's a good family fun. Really, it's been a while since I've been to the cinema, and Durham Cinema, it is really, really nice.
Is it posh? Because it's not the cinema that I remember, because I think that had one screen.
I've been spoiled. I don't think we can go anywhere else now. Durham Cinema is so nice. It's full recliners. They all work, really comfortable. No idiots in there usually.
But it's so expensive. How much was your ticket?
Well, I don't pay for cinema. Part of my life insurance, this is not a sell to go and do Vitality life insurance, but part of my life insurance.
If you do so many steps, you get like a ticket. Basically. So you must get like tickets for the rest of your life.
Well, it does get worse and worse and worse. The first, we've had this for probably about a decade, and it was sensational. But now I think you get one free trip per month. It used to be every week. And not so good anymore.
Because it is really expensive, isn't it?
Goodness me, if we went to do this as a recliner, I think you could be looking at nearly 20 quid a seat, something like that. So it's not cheap. So yeah, very, very grateful for that. But you have to work for it.
You don't have to do any work for it. You've done your steps by like 5 a.m.
Well, yeah, for someone like me, it is just a lovely side effect from doing the exercise anyway. But yeah, really, really grateful. And free coffees too. Yeah, we do really well in Durham. So we basically I cashed in a lot of Tesco. I'm such a sad case. Tesco vouchers. I went to Zizzy for some nice pizza. Coffees from Cafe Nero, free for Vitality, then free cinema too.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's been a box office success, but yeah, we loved it. We all loved it. The Fall Guy. Definitely go and see it. Hopefully, if I get this podcast or enough of the podcast edited today, where Tuesday, we'll see on Friday if it actually goes out in time. But I'd like to go to the lakes tomorrow because that marries up nicely with Lisa's work pattern. Can't go the weekend. So tomorrow is my day. There's a nice little loop from Grasmere on the 13 Valleys route, which will loop back to roughly Grasmere and then just kind of make my own way back to Grasmere from there. Can park up. That's a loosey-goosey plan. Hopefully get all my jobs done. Forecast. Not so good for the lakes tomorrow, but we'll see. But my main session, and this is giving me major anxiety when I saw this on the plan. Uphill tempo. So that's up-tempo session, uphill for 40 minutes. And that up-tempo is, I suppose, my marathon pace effort, the 40 minutes. And this is why I said, we could go to the lakes and we could run up Skiddaw, but what's underfoot isn't really great for running. It's quite technical, quite rocky. So 40 minutes on the treadmill, yeah, absolutely nails it. But yeah, that is filling. I'm not going to lie. I'm a bit scared when I look at that.
Imagine the sweat.
But that's going to be Sunday because the long run, obviously, if the long run happens tomorrow, luckily I only do, say, one big workout and some minutes or some strides. What
percentage is that? Are you going to put the treadmill on for that?
It's said up to 12%. I think it said between 7 and 12% on the plan. So yeah, I'll put it up to 12.
Of course you will.
Obviously, I can't run marathon pace when it's got a 12% incline. So I checked my Manchester Marathon heart rate and it went from 145 very quickly up to about 155. So I'll keep it within that range. Yeah, fingers crossed we'll get all those done.
We look forward to the post uphill tempo video.
Tried to be a bit more mindful over on Instagram, sharing my little running adventures too.
Oh, please don't.
Hopefully get some pictures of a middle-aged man on the trails around Grasmere.
Oh, that's what Instagram needs. That's really good. You've got to market.
More of that kind of stuff.
You've got to market for that.
Thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration and Silver Sweden for sponsoring this week's show. Use the code T24 for 15% off your first order over at Precision Fuel and Hydration. Thanks to our partners and patrons too. 100%. We couldn't do this without you and your ongoing support.
Be kind to your future self. Breathe and believe. Progress, not perfection. Keep your shield high and don't mind the grind. Hope you all have a great weekend. My name is Eddie Sutton.
And my name is Gary Thwitz.
And that was episode 73 of the Tea and Trails podcast.